So the problem here is having to go to police officers who have gone out of their way not to do their jobs, to try to get help about threats, harassment, stalking, and assaults, when you've already gone to them repeatedly before and they've made every excuse not to. When you have gone in to turn in those specific officers, they have done everything in their power to have you committed. Meanwhile, the reason that I am suicidal, the reason that I want my life to end every moment of every day, is specifically because of the abuse that I have had to endure at the hands of the police and at the hands of people who are harming me over things I never did. I didn't stalk Natalie. I didn't rape Natalie. I didn't molest Natalie. I didn't kill Natalie. I didn't stalk Alicia. I didn't rape Alicia. I didn't kill Alicia. And I didn't molest Alicia. Now, as far as harassment goes, I harassed them. You goddamn right I did. I harassed them because I was stalked. I was threatened. I was assaulted repeatedly, while law enforcement made every excuse not to do anything about it. Every fucking excuse. Now, I kept getting told that I needed a civil court date. There was nothing civil about this, about the gang stalking and the harassment. Now, the fact is, the things that Shannon Alvarado could have come forward about, she is too fucking drunk. Her brain is mush from all of the alcohol. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't try to help. There were lots of situations where she did try to help. And in many of those occasions, she was able to help. But those things needed to be documented. And instead of writing those things down, she was busy getting drunk. And then, months and months and months later, she's asking me what she needs to write down. Well, Sean, your memory is better than mine. I'm aware of that, Shannon, but I didn't make those phone calls that you said you made. You made them. So how am I supposed to know? Now then, there was the situation with the assault in Longmont, and she did start writing something about that. But she was writing that it was Clearview. Like, no, Shannon, that wasn't Clearview. That was the Longmont Hospital in November. Clearview was back in January. But the thing is, she's always so busy talking about herself. Whenever we were going to sit down and she was going to listen to what I had to say so that I could explain to her everything that was going on, she would go off about something completely unfucking related. She'd want to tell me about this homeless friend and that homeless friend and Marnie and so on and so forth. I spent 90% of the time that me and Shannon were going to work on my case, I was listening to her, and I can remember the things that she said, but she can't remember the things that I said. 90% of the time, she was too drunk to help anyone. She couldn't even help herself, she was that drunk. Nearly all the fucking time. During the day, she stays sober. At night, she gets drunk and abusive. But she's not physically abusive, so it's okay. Now, while I was at Shannon Alvarado's, How many times did I scream at Miss Shannon or at anyone in that household? 0 times. That's right. 0 times. And the few times that I was screaming at videos, now mind you, I have to be severely overwhelmed in order to be screaming. Now there are things that very much get me severely overwhelmed. Listening to Shannon scream all night at Rick, yeah, that overwhelms me. It's a very scary situation. Having to deal with murder shows on TV, that's severely overwhelming. I hate death. I hate it. Especially murder. It's fucking gross. Now these people who claim that they came forward, Amanda Jonas had the opposite to say about that. See, here's the thing, that Miss Peaches did go with me to try to talk to the State Patrol. Now, I told her that it was probably too late in the day, but honestly, I didn't know for certain that it would be too late in the day. I do know that we were going to go much earlier in the day, and she was busy playing on her phone and smoking some weed. So I had to wait. When she finally said, all right, I'm ready to go, I'm like, it's 4 o'clock at night. Holy fuck. Now, all of these people who should have come forward and needed to go to the FBI. Those things needed to be written down and documented, and I needed copies of that in order to get a lawyer. In order to get a lawyer, I need copies of that shit. If you actually did it, you should be able to get copies of that. If you actually wrote those letters, you should be able to get copies of that. For me, I have to deal with the fact that, first of all, I don't have the money to do that. I have to depend on others. I have to. I don't have an income. I'm not able to work. I'm not able to take care of myself. I have to depend on others. Others who did not keep their word. Others who ignored the situation after saying that they were going to help, ignored it for months on end, and then they want to play victim. Like, oh, Sean, hundreds of calls over how long a period of time? Hundreds of messages over how long a period of time? See, I'm not messaging you because I'm trying to be a fucking asshole. I'm messaging you because you promised to help, and I need that help, and I need it quickly. There's a very short window of time in order to take care of these things. And with all of my time and all of my money and all of my resources tied up, yeah, how am I supposed to be able to do those things myself? How am I even going to make it to court? Now, the court dates that they kept me tied up with were the assault by Officer Waylon Lolatai and the things that they did at Clearview that later killed a man. I didn't need to be drugged. I needed an advocate so that I could take these people to court. Someone who actually cared enough to go in with me, because if they didn't go in with me, the cops were just going to turn off their body cameras and break the law. So now I post that stuff on YouTube. According to Scott DaCosta, yet again, no body cameras on. Why is that? Because he was aware that I was trying to turn in his officers. He had been aware of that since the day that he handed me that CD that showed the interaction with myself and Jordan Anderson. He had been aware since that day that I was trying to take Jordan Anderson to court. He had been aware since that day that I was trying to prove the wrongdoing of police in his department, or deputies in his department. I break the law because I have to. I cannot function, I cannot take care of myself. I make videos where I talk because looking at the evidence is fucking overwhelming for me. The things that I said, they're all in there. It's all in there. The problem is that people keep telling me that I wanted it, needed it, chose it, and deserved it. And then they use pretty words or bad assumptions and then say, I'm not assuming anything. I'm not telling you pretty words. No, you absolutely are. You absolutely are. Now, there's a lot of people who claim that they tried going to the media and the media wouldn't listen. Miss Peaches is one of those people. I went to the media and the media wouldn't listen repeatedly. They didn't give a fuck. Meanwhile, these people who claimed that they were going to help, they weren't helping. They weren't helping. Without an advocate, nothing happens, and the abuse continues. Meanwhile, that abuse is felonious, not just because I'm disabled. And then there's people who want to assume the help that I need and treat me completely like shit, even though they told me they would help me how I asked. I know what help I need because I have been through this with many other people when it comes to police, where they turn off their body cameras and do whatever the fuck they want, especially when you're trying to turn in officers. I'm overwhelmed, and I am victimized for being overwhelmed. And all of these people who want to be pissed off at me because I'm frustrated and I'm overwhelmed can kiss my ass. See, here's the thing, is that Erin Cockerham pulled a whole bunch of bullshit of her own. The very first message that she sent me on Facebook was a message claiming that she was Layla Dunan's sister. Now, later on, when we found out that Layla Dunan wasn't actually a real person, she changed her story. She's like, oh, well, I was just forwarding that from her sister, and it was in this group and all that. See, that's the thing that I had to deal with. I had to deal with crazy people like that. Crazy people like Layla Dunan. Crazy people like Cara Rogers. Crazy people. People who just wanted to start drama. And the fact is, I cannot function because of all of this. This is the kind of help that I got. It's not help. It's hell. It's hell having to deal with people who will only text. Now, I had to deal with that until after November of 2018. People who would just text. And the phone calls that I made and was able to talk to those people, I didn't record those calls. And I should have. I should have recorded the phone calls all along. And most of the time, I just didn't have the ability to do so. With my electronics being stolen repeatedly, I didn't have the ability to use the electronics to record on other electronics. And people kept saying, you need to get this program and you need to get that program. And I'd try to get these programs and I couldn't make them work. And all of these people, not understanding that I'm not capable of doing what it is that you're telling me to do, I need someone to show me. I need you to understand that I am not in my element. I am not in a positive environment. I can't just magic up the knowledge and ability to do what you're asking. I can't just magic up the money to do what it is that you're asking. I can't just magic up the time to do what it is you're asking. I went to every single court date. Every single one. I had to flee the state of Colorado because of abuse from the police. The police. Not the Bollingers. Not Tim Beeson. But from the police. Every time that I tried to turn in the people who were threatening and harassing and assaulting me, I got blown off by the police. By the time I was assaulted by Derek Apodaca, when that assault happened, I didn't go to the police. I went straight to Facebook because that happened in Boulder County. That happened within the city of Boulder, Colorado, at the Bandshell Park on the corner of Canyon and Broadway. That's where he assaulted me. Now, because of the slander against me, police officers across the state of Colorado did their own vigilante bullshit. See, that's the difference between having their camera on and having their camera off. If a police officer's camera is off, he's breaking the law and being a vigilante, assuming your guilt and playing judge and jury. If he's got his camera on, then you can take that to a judge or a jury. I needed to be able to protect myself from the Bollingers and the things that happened to me as a result of their slander. It's not a civil matter. It's a felonious criminal matter that took place across multiple states with multiple officers in multiple states playing vigilante or looking the other way. Fuck the police. Now, according to Erin Cockerham in her video with me, as well as Mandy Hughes and many others, they tried to make reports. They tried. Now, for me, being able to sit down and organize all of this is a pain in the ass. Meanwhile, people want to scream and shout at me, and I'm not allowed to scream and shout back. Meanwhile, I'm going through a hell that they can't comprehend, couldn't possibly comprehend. Now, for me, it gets called talking shit when I tell the truth. When I tell the truth about Erin Cockerham. When I tell the truth about Kayla Trujillo. When I tell the truth about Shannon Alvarado. And then when I show the truth, I'm a bad person. I'm a terrible person. I should burn in hell, and so on and so forth. The thing is, these people said that they would help me and did not keep their word. When they were slandered, it didn't matter because the police weren't going to take a report or listen to anything that anybody said unless they went in person as a group to force the police to do their jobs. If it's acceptable to harm a disabled person because that disabled person can't defend themselves, then we have a major issue that needs to be remedied. And if that's the way that we're going to treat disabled people, we should just kill them all. I do mean that. Now, there are plenty of disabled people who have family help, who have family who cares. My family didn't care about me because I'm not perfect. Like my little sister, Tara, said in that video. Mom complained the whole time at Grandma's funeral because she wanted to have normal kids. Angela K. Wade, that's my mother's name. Angela K. Wade, you aren't going to have normal kids when your kids grew up in the system because you couldn't stay off the cocaine. Amy Spencer is having problems with her kids because she chose drugs over her kids on multiple occasions. Fuck the police. The fact is, I had to break the law to defend myself against actual predators, including police officers.